This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Electricast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Claudia Monticelli, your host of the podcast, Let's Talk Soul. Today with me is Darlene van der Grift. Darlene, she's speaking to us from New York, the state of New York. Say hello to our audience.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me on, Claudia. I look forward to our conversation.
Good. So Darlene is a highly respected medical intuitive and multidimensional mediator, medium, artist, timeline architect, how fascinating, and author with over 35 years experience. She dedicated her career to helping people tap into their innate wisdom and spiritual guidance to explore and heal their multidimensional selves. This is interesting, Darlene, because we never talk about timelines. And when we consider ourselves, we don't think in terms of multidimensions. Her first idea was, and that has shaped her educational background, is her thirst for knowledge. And as you can see by my presentation, it ranges across different subjects, including applied kinesiology, one brain. What is one brain?
One Brain was it was developed by Gordon Stokes and Daniel Whiteside. It was one of the first kinesiology trainings that there were. I think they started back, I pursued them for a long time.
In the United States?
It was in the United, but no, they were worldwide. They went to Germany, they were in Australia, they were in England, they were all over. And I think they're still up and running, though the two of the founders have passed. But that was my primary way, and there's a history with that, but that's my primary tool that I started with.
Okay, so the list goes on: the Swedish and therapeutic massage, anatomy and physiology, matrix energetics. We've heard that around. Touch for health, intention, muscle balancing, nutritional counseling, reconnection work, herbal and homeopathic medicine, and the energy arts. There are, of course, many different ways you can contact her and find her. I will put the list underneath the episode, in the description of the episode. Darlene, boy, you don't let the grass grow under your feet.
No, not at all. Movement is life,
Keep it
right?
going. Yeah. Right. Well, I'm all for that. When we talk about multi-dimensions and timelines, I work with past life regression, and my idea of past lives is particular. Would you like to broach that subject, past lives, and your experience with it?
Yeah. So, working with people, a lot of the fair amount of my clients come in with health issues, or it's woven into that session in some way.
Yeah.
They could start out with a relationship with that. But what happens is I track where their blockages are, or their patterns are, or whatever they're bringing in as a issue. So I track that to find out the age of cause. And there's always something that's in this lifetime that started, whether it's birth or 2 years old or 20 years old, there's always something that is an emotional impact in some way. And then once that's looked at, I pull that apart with them. We talk about what happened in that time. Is there steps to heal that? If there is a past life attached to that, it'll show up like this. This is where this is going. You want to know where the core is? The core is back in this lifetime.
Do you mind? Would it be possible to get to have an example, obviously not with one of your clients, but give us a fictional client with a specific issue that you linked to a certain timeline. I'm trying to get a better idea of how that works.
Okay, so I'm trying to think of a good example. So someone that doesn't feel worthy. So maybe
Okay.
they don't feel worthy of having money or any of that.
Okay.
And find out what happened in there. It's not only this lifetime, but their ancestors could be part of that, which are not necessarily past lives, right?
Right.
So it's
Sure.
ancestral, the DNA, the trauma that could have happened. So it's all associated around now, this
Mm-hmm.
lifetime. And then tracking that back to another lifetime, it would feel like maybe there was an issue in a community where you were sought after and then you were denied that, you were ousted, right?
Okay.
So you were ousted for something that you did or you didn't do.
Right.
And so it's that feeling of unworthiness that can come in. So how do you manage that? How do you change that timeline? How do you address that past life? And there's ways to do that because we're all energy, right? So if
Right.
you go back, and it's the very simple fact of sometimes just visualization, right?
In
It's
what
like,
way?
well, if they go back to that timeline and they were ousted
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason that was, let's find out why you were.
When you say go back, how would they go back to that
Some
time?
people are very visual,
Yeah.
right? And so what happens for me is I get things auditorily, I get
Right.
things visually, I get things kinesthetic. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just pushed back into that timeline. Here's this. Maybe they know somebody in this time, in this lifetime,
Yeah.
that was back then. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
not. Doesn't really matter. And then, what were the circumstances? What were
Mm-hmm.
the dynamics? What comes in as an emotional impact that you held into this lifetime?
Mm-hmm.
Once you look at that, once they get that understanding, they start to make the point. They start to make the connection and connecting to the dots. Oh my goodness. Yes, I've been doing that since that I've been that little. Or is this person that I'm dealing with, was that my father or my grandfather in another
Mm-hmm.
lifetime? Like they start to pull it together.
Right.
And then we work on what are the steps to heal that or
Mm-hmm.
to integrate that or to release it, because it doesn't have to, not everything has to be healed. It might just need to be understood.
Understood. Do you find right about this moment when I'm putting myself in the client's shoes, right? Right around this moment, have you ever found that people either don't trust you or don't understand or can't believe that what you're doing could possibly help them? I'm sure people come to you by word of mouth, and
Always.
obviously they're there, they know what you do. But have you ever found some kind of restriction, some kind of a wall that's put up?
Yes. And it's very rare
Mm-hmm.
because most people come because they're seeking for something. So they're
Right.
seekers of their own truth or whatever that is. But when that wall comes up, I usually find that there is a belief system or they are so much in their head
Yeah.
about what they want to find out or what they
Right.
believe to find out that anything that is not aligned with them
Right.
becomes a boundary, a resistance or something, but it's not often, not
Yeah.
often.
And how does that work? Do you just stop the contact or let go or just
No, I
abandon?
find another avenue.
Okay. 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 Good. Interesting. So when you're able, it's not, it's quite different from past life regression, of course. This is all, there's no hypnosis, there's no going under anything at all. So people are there with you and it's coming all out. How long are these sessions?
An hour.
An hour. Okay. You're able
We
to,
do that in an
yeah,
hour.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, that's interesting. That's interesting. And after that hour, what happens?
So, because it's woven in. Like, it's not just, oh, let's go back and find out the past lives. It's let's go back and find out the past lives, and how does that affect your diet this lifetime, and how do you feel about your body this lifetime,
Yeah.
and what about your wife and your partner, and how does
Yeah.
that all get woven in? So they are given, and I usually tell people to record, because there's like homework, there's
Yeah, of course.
steps forward that they need to do. And I don't work with them on a weekly basis, because they never cover what they need to cover in a week.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's more about, I let them determine what their body feels like.
Right.
I have a blockage about this. Well, I moved, and some people like, after 6 months, they contact me and they go, I finally finished everything we talked about, and now my life is like this.
Right.
So it's those how it moves is really their own choice, and the pattern that they
They're
have.
in control of how they
Yes.
heal, how long it takes
really.
for them to do things. And have you, sometimes I've been told you shouldn't work with family members because there's always resistance and they won't. Have you had this experience?
If the family member comes to me, and they do, then
yes.
I reside mostly in a neutral place. I try to do that like 95% of the time, or more. So whatever, I'm always fascinated by the story and not what I believe about the person.
Right. Okay. This is interesting. How did you get into this?
Well, I started talking to friends when I was about 12 or 13. They would come with, boy issues or this or that, and it was just very, oh, this is what's happening and this is what you can do. And why don't you try this? And this is where he's coming from or she's coming from. And I never really thought anything about it. It was just a natural conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was my mother went through a healing crisis for 3 years. They gave her 6 months to live, and she lived another 45 years past that.
Good for her.
But through that healing crisis, that's how I got introduced to kinesiology, because she went to a chiropractor. And the chiropractor put her into a program at that time, it was called the Kelly Research Program out of Texas. It was 350 supplements that she took a day, 3 coffee enemas a day.
Oh my God.
And it was, she wanted to live, and she did.
The coffee enemas, I've heard that from so many people. Yeah. It's fascinating. It's fascinating.
It is. Well, what it did, and now that I know about the emotional level, because I was 17 at the time, now that I know about the emotional level, I can really understand why she was so ill.
Yeah.
Her mother tried to kill her twice. She was raised, by other people. I mean, it was really a hardship for her and a heartbreak for her. But what happened was she became a massage therapist in order to do hands-on work.
Oh, good for her. When she was ill or before she was ill?
No, right after. When she came out of that, she became a healer, right?
Good for her.
She had people following her, and she had a well-known practice.
Interesting.
And she was making $15 an hour way back when, and I was making $4. It sounded like a really good idea. Like, why wouldn't I want to do that? And so I got my certificate for massage, and it was like, okay, I got that. And I proceeded to tell her that in her practice, because I was going to work for her, I didn't want to do men. I didn't want to do anybody that was hairy. Don't give me anybody that's over 130 pounds. Forget it. Not going to do it.
Did she laugh?
She listened to me, and she gave me everybody but that. She gave me, somebody that was missing a right leg, somebody that had, breast cancer and had their breast removed. She gave me everybody but, and it didn't take long. It took about 6 weeks, and I fell in love with the human body. And then that kind of opened me up to what more is there? How do humans How do they think? Where does their emotions come from? What about their diet? What about their movement? What about all of that just started to course through me? And that became my career.
Really? And your mother was very influential, of course. Fascinating woman.
Together.
Really, really interesting. It's a gift really to be able to live in, not in the shadow, but next to a person who is such a guiding light because she's full of light. That's fascinating, fascinating. Now, obviously, the idea of past lives is we just even not even touched the surface. We didn't even scratch the surface. But it brings me to the topic of different timelines and the value that they have for the present. Can we weave that in, or is it too much to ask?
No.
The Hilton sale is on. For 10 days only, you can save up to 20% on stays this fall and beyond. Don't wait. The sale ends September 29th. Book your stay and save at Hilton.com. Terms apply. Hilton, for the stay.
So if you look at past life, that's how I explain it. If one past life is really, so it's one thing, right?
Right.
And it's a pearl. I use it as a pearl or a bead.
Mm-hmm.
And a timeline is a behavior, it's a pattern, it's an issue, it's something that is more prevalent, right, in who you are, your identity and who you are in this lifetime. And it's usually problematic, or otherwise you wouldn't care, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's something that you want to address. So that is the string. So you might have had a string of maybe relationship issues that you pick a certain person in your life and you have this, and maybe that issue has 15 past lives attached to it as the pearls, right? So these beads or pearls are on this thread of your behavior or your pattern.
Right.
When you address, because I trust the innate wisdom of the person that I'm working with, their body knows everything. So I trust that. So when their subconscious takes me back to the priority timeline or the priority past life, right? And we resolve that, the energy falls away from that past life, but it also pulls out that pattern, that string. And so all those past lives that might have been attached to it fall away. They lose their energy.
Okay. I think I was misled by the word timelines, because timelines are, in my mind, time lines that are parallel. In this lifetime, there are, say, 4 or 5 different timelines that my essence lives throughout or experience. And it's always been a topic very difficult to get my head around. And I was wondering if this was the nature of the topic that you were dealing with just now.
It's a different term. I would use them as dimensions. That's why we're multidimensional. So where you're saying timelines, true.
Yeah.
It could be that. You can use that term, but the dimensions is how I would describe that we have many parts of ourselves and dimensions of living at the same time in these different locations or dimensions or different bodies.
Yeah. You are an author, correct?
Yes.
Now, can we go back in time, talking about time, go back to your first book? Or and when was that? What year was that? The title of the book?
So the first book is actually coming out this year. So I have a series.
Good. So that was an easy question.
There you go. Yeah, it's Pegasus Publishing in the UK. And so it will be out sometime later this year. But there is a series, and the first book is called Earthbound, The Genesis of the Great Experiment.
Oh, you're going to have to say that again. The genesis of the great experiment. When is it supposed to come out?
It could be probably August, September, I would imagine.
Okay.
So it's not soon. But what that's about is it's a multidimensional memoir.
Okay.
So it's these beings that I have been working with that are multidimensional, that are
beings in terms of essences. What do you mean?
No, they are real beings. They, I started channeling the one that is in the books all the way through, because that particular being wants to become more human, wants to understand his emotionality. So the books are about his journey, his epic journey through different ancient timelines, right?
Hmm.
Of ancient Egypt and Lemuria and Atlantis
Okay.
and Antarctica and South Africa and
Yeah.
Tibet. And it's all those where he gathers wisdom and knowledge to
Okay.
become more.
All right. Now, these beings have a name or given a name in the book?
In the book, no, they're not until the very end. Maybe even in the fourth book they start to come forward. But it is about their journey related to our present day.
Okay. And what was in your mind when you decided to write the book? Because the main title, Earthbound, Earthbound, when we talk about earthbound spirits, or spirits who have passed but who, for some reason, are still on the Earth's surface, have not crossed over. In this case, these beings who are so real for you,
Hmm.
who I still feel are spiritual in nature. Okay. Are they?
Yes.
Okay. So, are they earthbound in the sense that I
Earthbound,
just said?
no. Earthbound has a lot of different meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Earthbound, in this
Knowing.
title, you'll
Mm-hmm.
find out that it is a craft.
Uh-huh.
So it is a spaceship, a craft,
Uh-huh.
a vehicle
Uh-huh.
that brings refugees and defectors onto Earth that are
Okay.
from other planets. So it's our origin.
Okay.
It's our origin of that, what we call junk DNA.
Okay. All right. Now that we are totally confused, ladies and gentlemen, no, no, I'm joking there, but we are very curious about this book to come out. And you mentioned Pegasus in the UK. I know about Pegasus, and was there a choice, a reason behind your choice to work with them?
Well, it's interesting, when I first started the books, and I've been told way back when that I would do a book, and I was like, I thought it was my life history. I thought it was my mother's history because that's really
Mm-hmm.
chock full with richness. And every time I started writing it, it just didn't feel right. So, in my process of my own evolution with these beings since 1990, they've evolved.
Uh-huh.
And when they got to the place of where they are right now, they said, you need to do the books. You need to tell
Our
everyone about
story.
this, our story. So that happened. And Pegasus, so there's 28 beings that were at the end of their evolution, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so they were the ones that are in the book.
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard about writing, the editor that I'm writing with, which is fabulous,
Mm-hmm.
she she said, well, actually, I was online. It was like you could do 1,000 queries before you get picked up. And I
You
was
mean
like,
1,000 queries sending out to different people, to different,
to different publishers,
right,
to
right,
agents, to
agents,
whatever,
right,
like you just
right,
need to prepare yourself for that. So I was like,
right.
oh, well, Pegasus came in, like we had been doing this for a while. Pegasus came in and they were like, yes, we would like to pick up your book. We want the whole book. Let us know what it is. And I was just curious, and I was like, I wonder how many times we really put out the queries. And it was 28.
You mean we in the sense of you put it out?
Yeah. So my editor and I did the queries and put them out because she helps me with the editing, right? So we put them out, and I thought we did way more than 28, but it was 28.
28.
Pegasus was the 28th one, and there was 28 beings that the books were
Mm-hmm.
about.
Now,
So I
Pegasus,
thought,
that is an editing house. It's not a publishing house.
no, it's a publishing house.
Ah, I see. So the queries, what were the queries for?
Well, you had to give them a gist of, some of them wanted 2 paragraphs. Some of them wanted 10 pages. It
But
was the
who?
query. It
Who?
went to all publishers.
Okay, so then Pegasus is not a publishing house.
No, it is a publishing house, but they needed you need to write to them with a bit about what the book is, because they're not going to read the
Okay.
manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
So you write to them with a bit, and if they're interested, they get back to you with yes or no.
Okay, so I don't think I understood the 28 queries, because a query letter would be, like you said, a couple of paragraphs about the book, and you send to different either agents or publishing houses. Yes. But I guess Pegasus picked it up.
On number 28, they picked it up, and that's what was like.
Oh, that was the 28th that you sent.
28 beings, 28 that I sent.
Now I got it. Well, congratulations. It's quite, well, I won't say anything because it still has to come out. So that's good.
It still does, yes.
In the beginning, when we spoke about began to speak about the book, you mentioned it was a memoir. Yes. Am I right? Yeah. Now, yes. How did you, in what sense, how did you fashion this to be a memoir?
Well, the being who is the primary being in the book that is changing or wants to change is really one of my first incarnations. And so I didn't know that until later. I started channeling him, and I didn't like channeling. It took about 5 years of channeling, and it did a lot of healing with the group that he really wanted to heal with. But I didn't like it. So that's where I became the multidimensional mediator, because it was more about not channeling.
Interesting. Now this is quite, I enjoy channeling, and so it's a little bit different from you, but how interesting. Now, you talk about this book as being coming after so much time, as if that is going to be your opus magnus. That's it. There are no more books. Obviously, that's not true. So I'm sure you must have somewhere in your computer some kind of table of contents, draft titles of something else that you would like to work with, or not yet.
Well, I lead groups once a month on the third Sunday, and we go into what's called the white space, and we work with these beings that are not only working individually with the participants, but they're also doing global work. And so that keeps me busy. But the writing, the books are ongoing. Like they're all done at the first draft. The first one's completely done. The second one's like 90% done. But what I'm finding is, like, as the world changes now,
yes,
there's more that comes in that weaves it into this is why this book is important, because of the now of what's happening. Interesting.
So we will be expecting something more from Darlene van der Grift, correct?
And until I take my last breath, I would imagine.
Darlene, thank you so much for all sharing your life's work with us, and I will definitely write the title of the book that will be forthcoming. And I hope to be able to talk to you again when we have another project coming out, book proposal coming out.
That would be wonderful. I'll let you know when the book looks like it's coming out, and then we can have a conversation.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care. Thanks, Claudia.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to follow Let's Talk Soul Podcast on Instagram. Let's Talk Soul Podcast is a production of Electrocast Media. Our executive producers are Mark Netter and Peter Rafelson. If you like our show and like what you hear, please subscribe and give us a rating wherever you enjoy podcasts. And remember, stay curious, stay inspired, and never stop exploring the depths of your soul.
You deserve better healthcare, and so do we all. Medicine in America is a podcast that shares real stories of patients and doctors reshaping the future, because the revolution in care isn't coming, it's already here. Real stories, real change, a better future for healthcare.
Electric acid.